Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech. We're going to review the HTC Titan. The HTC Titan is the latest generation of Windows Phone 7. I've been using it as my personal phone for about a week or so, and I really like it. It's pretty nice. But let's talk about the phone itself, and then we'll go into my experience with it. The phone itself is really nice and thin. Built well, hefty. It's got an aluminum back with a plastic bottom. I think this is where they have the antenna, and I'll show you that in a moment. The screen is huge. Now, in my hand, it's going to look kind of small, but I'll bring an iPhone out to show you the difference. So here you can see this is a 4.7-inch 800 by 480 screen. It's huge. It's really nice, and I like it a lot. Here's the iPhone next to it. So in my hands, looks normal, right? Here, now it looks huge. This is a normal iPhone 4S. So you can see it's significantly bigger than the 4S. But thickness-wise, not really much difference there. Now, the screen itself is a lower resolution, but that's because Microsoft says it must be this resolution. And it's nice because they've stretched everything, and it's huge. I'll show you that in a moment. We have a forward-facing camera here for video calls, or you can take pictures with it. We have our earpiece. We have our normal buttons that's standard across all Microsoft phones or Windows phones. We have home or Windows button, search, and back. On this side of the phone, we have a volume rocker. We have our camera button to activate the camera, take pictures. On the top, we have a sleep-wake button. We have our noise-canceling microphone, that little pinhole there. And we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the bottom of the phone, we have a little release for the back. We have our microphone for our voice when we're on the phone. And we have a mini USB jack on the side, or micro rather, USB jack on the side for when we want to sync or charge our phone. On the back, you'll see, I think these are antennas / microphones for the camera. I'm not really sure these little pinholes are, but here we have our 8-megapixel dual LED flash camera. It takes 720p video and 8-megapixel stills. We also have a speaker on the back. And overall, the phone is really nice. This is aluminum. It's built really well and feels really solid in your hand. Let me go ahead and pop the back off. Now, the battery, I'm not going to give you their actual talk time specs. I'll take it out here, but because I've used this for a week or so, and I get a decent full day. And what I mean by that is I unplug it about 9 or 10 a.m. I work in the evenings usually, so 9 or 10 a.m., and it will go until about 2 in the morning regularly before it needs a charge again. And that's with maybe playing a game, watching a video on Netflix, getting a bunch of emails every day out of 4 or 5 email boxes, and it seems to do pretty well, even with that giant screen. So here's the battery, and it takes an hour or two to charge, but it does a good job. We have our SIM card slot here, and there's 16 gigs of internal storage. The whole back comes off, and what I found that maybe a tip for some of you is if you don't like cases, I really don't like cases on my phones because it adds to the bulk of them. This thing itself, this back that encompasses the entire back of the phone, not the front, actually is only about $30 online. So it's kind of like a case, so if it scratches, big deal. Now, if you're looking for drop protection, obviously that's not really going to do a whole lot for you. But as you can see, it's pretty nice. So let's go ahead and turn it on. There we go. It'll boot up. It'll take a moment here. As my white balance adjusts and things. But it'll take a moment. It'll boot up. And I really enjoy using this phone. You either like Windows Phone and you get it, or you don't, I think, from when I show people. Some people seem to really like it. Others don't. I personally like it a lot. I know some other big names on YouTube have really enjoyed using it, have switched to it. And overall, it just provides a really nice experience. I think Microsoft nailed it when they went to make something completely different than an iPhone or Android. So here you can see we have our live tiles. I'm not going to go into the OS. I've done that in other videos. But overall, the screen is really responsive. The phone is nice and fast. It's got a 1.5 gigahertz processor in it with 512 RAM, and you really don't need that much speed. I mean, the Samsung Focus was 1 gigahertz and was plenty fast. This just adds to the speed. A single core, and you really don't need the other dual core. It's a 4G phone, or really HS DPA phone, not really true 4G, but I get decent speeds with it. Wi-Fi is good. Overall call quality, a lot of you asked me about that. I know a lot of us still use our phones for calls. Call quality is pretty good. I've used it 4 or 5 times, well, probably once a day or so for the past 4 or 5 days, and it has no problems, doesn't drop calls. I haven't had any issues there. Overall, you can see the signal's pretty good. I have 3 bars. I'm in the downstairs of, or kind of half basement of a home, and it seems to pick up 4G with no problem. Overall, it's a nice experience. Now, the screen is huge, like I said. It's an 800 by 480 resolution, and what they did is stretch the screen. So you've got this giant screen, and instead of having like an Android Galaxy Nexus, you have 720p and almost this screen size. So it's really high resolution. What they've done instead is make things huge, and I like that for me personally. So if I go into email, see everything's pretty easy to read, everything's nice and big, and it works well. Everything's really quick and works like you would expect it. Now, the camera itself, I've heard multiple reports. Let's go ahead and open the camera here. Some people say it works really well. Overall, I think it works pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's a phone camera. Some people I've heard say it's as good as an iPhone 4. I've heard others say that it's not. So it's really, I guess, going to be up to when you're using it and what light conditions. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty happy with it overall. Now, let me talk about the bad things of the phone. The bad things really aren't very many. Mostly, this right here, the sleep-wake button, is a little bit difficult to push occasionally because of where it is. If you have a case on the back, it makes it even more so. So you push this little button. It's because it's built into this rim and not the phone itself, not like a solid click. It's kind of more of like a mushy push down onto the button. And so it's a little bit difficult at times. But other than that, there isn't a whole lot more. The screen flexes a little bit. It's a little bit large. So let me see if I can show you this here. If I push too hard on the screen, maybe it's this corner. Yeah, right there. If I push too hard on the screen, actually I'm pushing on the LCD a little bit. And it's a little bit concerning. I do have a screen protector on the front here. It's hard to see because it's so well put on from the person I bought it from. Did a really good job with that. But it's really, it's a little scary because of how big this is, and the screen's right at the front. It actually sticks out a little bit past this rim. So you definitely would want a screen protector on it. Or unless you're super careful with your phone or putting it in a pouch, but you can't really lay it down this way, and then this bump from the camera sticks out on the other side. So there's not really much you can do as far as that goes. But overall, the phone is great. I would definitely recommend it. It's about $149 on contract. They've offered it as cheap as free on Black Friday, so it really depends on where you're getting it from. At the Microsoft store, they had it free for a day or two. But there isn't a whole lot more I can say about it other than I really like it. It's a great experience, feels well built. And then I did have someone comment, actually my brother held the phone, said it feels like an iPhone as far as quality goes. It's got some sharper edges like you get with an iPhone, and that definitely is a good thing because it's built really well. So I would definitely give it a try. It may be too big for some of you, so you may want to look at some smaller phones, but overall it's a great Windows phone, and definitely I recommend it. If you have any questions or comments about the phone, you've used it, or you want to see more about it, please go ahead and comment below. I'll try and either comment or make another video if I need to. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe if you haven't. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.